morning. Welcome to Viewpoint, your program of personalities, politicians, and perspectives. Happily, we will leave the politicians out of the picture today.
Thank you, God.
Oh, boy. Thank God for that. We get 24 hours respite, and then we start again. Okay. Personalities.
I mean, I'm telling you, it's scary.
Personalities. We do have some great personalities. It is scary. Oh, by the way, speaking of scary, it's personalities and politicians, etc. Soapbox time, Mrs. Busby and Mr. Ash, if I may.
Go for it.
You may hit the cutoff switch anytime you want. I noted that a person who appeared before the council, and in general, transparency of some individuals that are involved in Golden County Alliance and other organizations here seem to be called into question. And I want to make a comment about that, if I may. And if I may not, go ahead and cut it off. We have people in this community who volunteer to serve in various capacities. If they make mistakes, yeah, sure. We all do. But for goodness sakes, let's don't question their transparency or their integrity. Those folks that are involved in these organizations are trying hard for the benefit of our community. Complain if you want about something that they do, but for God's sakes, don't question their integrity or their transparency. Enough of that. Okay. Kudos. We always get on. We always try to start kudo Viewpoint with a kudo or two, and we have several. And in the interest of time, I'm not going to. I have to save some of them, I guess. But the particular one that I want to mention is a young man by the name of Reagan Tibbs from the municipality of Middletown. And young Mr. Tibbs entered in the state, sponsored by the American Legion, which is a great thing, State Oratorical Constitution Scholarship Speech Contest.
Oh, yes.
And that young man scored very well. And and the subject of his speech, and the politicians should take exception to this, not exceptions, should take note of this. His speech was entitled, "We, the People, and the American Constitution." Couldn't get any better than that. What, the cat go up?
Oh, the fly.
Oh,
The fly got between my eye and my glasses.
Well, don't get that fly out of here.
Can't somebody kill that little thing?
Let's don't take away Mr. Tibbs' recognition.
I'm sorry, really.
Well, watch it. You put her on notice.
And it's hard for me to maintain my dignity, too.
Well, seriously, of all the extracurricular activities that a high school youngster can become involved in,
Oh, now it's on your ear.
speech and debate program is probably, let's get out of here, will you, please? The speech and debate program was probably as good as it gets. Sports, that's wonderful.
Oh, gosh, yes.
But when these folks enter music and other extracurricular activities, that just rounds out your. Okay, why don't you introduce these folks? Speaking of extracurricular activities, and great things happen for high school youngsters.
Ironically, on the way up here, we got to talking about kids and involvement. And I think it's imperative that every kid, from starting with youth soccer, be involved, because if you're busy doing decent things, you really don't have a lot of time left over to do the naughty things, right? Okay, well, we established that.
I did find a little time for that.
Well,
and I was very involved in high school in all the activities.
But you were very exceptional. We are talking today with Jason Mauhar, who is in management of the CEO organization here for high school kids. And the CEO stands for Creating Entrepreneurial Opportunities.
Great thing.
Excuse me. And let's ask Jason to kind of give us a Reader's Digest version of the organization and your involvement in it, please. You'll have to lean way up.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I first heard about the
CEO program from actually Coach Dietrich from Lincoln High School. I was looking for some way in a business form if I could get involved in something like that, and he said, well, there's a program coming to town. I don't know much about it. It's a business program, and so I started digging around and talked to Andy Hake over at the Alliance, and she said, yep, they're starting to take interviews for the facilitator. Now, this was all new to me, so teaching versus facilitating. It's a very different concept. So I did a little more digging and got some more information and put in my application and walked the road and got hired on. And what it essentially is I create opportunities for students to grow. I don't necessarily teach them, but I bring in the types of people that can educate them in areas. So business leaders from the community, people that are influential in the community, people that have started other businesses, and they can come in and they can actually give the students an opportunity to learn and grow through them developing their own businesses. So it's an opportunity to learn by trial by fire, really. It's nothing theory, it's all real. And that's very different than most of your academic programs. So when they go in and they don't know what an invoice is, we don't necessarily cover it at a certain time. We wait till they need that information because they're really using it when they started their first business, which they can talk about in a little bit, where they sold advertisements. That was one of the first businesses they did. So it's a program to help students learn all the facets of business, to learn how to think entrepreneurially, which is great whether you're a business leader or you're an employee. It allows you to have those traits that people want. They want to hire you. But it also gives those business connections, and this is a huge one. It gives them business connections to the community. We want to keep people coming back to our community. Well, these students, and now myself, know more people than I ever did, even living here for 30 plus years. I know more business leaders in the community through this program because we've gone and visited their businesses. They've given us tours. They've given them. They've come and spoke on certain things, whether it happens to be marketing or it's insurance or it's networking, whatever it happens to be. So it's an opportunity for them to grow and then come back to our community. So let's say they go to college and they come back and they can say, "Hey, I'm interested in this field. Well, I have business contacts now. I can go and I can talk to them." So it gives them that opportunity to come back and do that. So it's just a great program. Yes.
Excellent. Now, two of the young people involved in CEO are with us today. Eli Olson and Jenna Graham are both members. And to start with, you don't just say me too, and you're a part of it. There's more to it than that, isn't there? How do you become a member of CEO?
Well, first we had to apply, we had to fill out a paper, and we had to get recognitions from all of our teachers and people outside of the school.
So you get a reference from older people or younger people?
We had some from teachers, and I feel like we had to have one from the other, from like outside of school.
And you tell them that I want to be a member of, and then you explain what this is. I think it's a fascinating. Can you tell me, folks, Jason, maybe the genesis of this program, where it started? Southern Illinois, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, this program started, I'm going to speak a little bit in ignorance, but 7-8 years ago down in Effingham, Illinois, Craig Lindvall is an interim, or is the CEO of the Midland Institute, but was the first instructor of the CEO program. When he was down there, he had been in the education field forever, and he wanted to see something different. So when they came and talked to him, they said, look, the Midland Institute said, look, well, actually, I guess it had been formed as Midland States Bank at that time, and they said, we want you to develop a business program. He said, okay, but I'm going to do it my way. And they said, okay. So he developed the program and the very, very limited curriculum that goes with it. It's very non-curriculum based. It's experience based. And it just has some general guidelines to keep you moving in the direction you need to go, to keep the car on the road, really. And then he started and he taught the very first class. 7-8 years ago, and then it's moved on from there, and now it's gone. They were expecting in 2015 to have 3 classes, and they now have 30.
Really?
In 2016, yeah. So they're exponential. The growth is exponential, and we're in 4 states now as well.
Jenna and Eli, how did you find out about this program?
Well, there was an assembly at my school one day, and
this is Mount Pulaski, by the way, so this is a great thing because it encompasses not only Lincoln Community High School, but Mount Pulaski as well.
Yeah, it comes to
wonderful
5 different schools around the county, and it's a great opportunity. But so there was just this assembly, and usually high schoolers don't really pay attention to anything that comes in front of them.
Is that still going on?
But this one was a little different for me. I thought it was just a different opportunity, and most of my friends just kind of thought, "Are you stupid? Why were you paying attention?" But
Well, they're still out there too.
but it stuck in my mind, and I just kind of thought about it for a while. And then one day, my superintendent came up to me, Todd Ham, and asked me about it. Told me about all the everything it'll provide for me and all the experience I can get from it, and just made it sound really good. So I just went ahead and applied.
How many kids from Mount Pulaski did apply, do you know?
I think there's 2 in the class. I don't know how many applied.
Okay, well, that would be a different number. And Jenna, your school is?
Lincoln High School.
Lincoln High School. And what are the other schools? Eli said there are 5.
There's Mount Pulaski, Lincoln High School, Greenview,
Olympia High School.
Olympia.
and then
I might have been wrong on my number a little bit. But
Well, we forgive you that.
Yeah, yeah.
Thank you.
So what entrepreneurial ideas did each of you bring to the table?
Well, for our group business, we did a dinner and a 5K, and I think all of us had ideas for it, but those are the 2 we really sticked with for the group business. But with our individual businesses, we all have our own ideas for what we're doing.
What's yours, Jenna?
I'm doing cupcakes. My business is going to be called Cupcakes.
Cupcakes, huh?
When I get older, I would like to become a police officer, and that's my passion.
Oh, well,
That's
how
interesting.
clever a name you have. Good for you.
Thank
And
you.
you thought she was just another pretty face.
I did. I did. Eli's pretty, too.
Seriously, Eli and Jenna, I think we need to establish for our listeners, both of them out there, that the Creative Entrepreneurial Opportunities is an organization whereby youngsters in school come up with ideas and create their own businesses per se. And having arrived at a business name or the thrust of the business, what you want to do with it, then you gather together, and with the help of people like Mr. Marhar, who's just still a kid, but seriously, you were taught to form a business from the ground floor up. I can't think of a better way for a youngster in high school to get involved in what's to come in the future for them.
Think ahead, you bet. What was your idea for someday, Eli?
What I'm looking to start is a 3D printing service.
Pardon?
3D printing service.
3D?
Oh,
Yeah.
3D.
3D printing is like, it takes a computer design, just a quick model, and actually prints it out of plastic, so you can just hold it in your hand. You can design anything you want on a CAD program on a computer, and it prints it right out.
CAD, that's computer design. Computer. Hey, what's the A? I've forgotten. Anyway, it's a design program which lets them. They print that stuff out so it's just like that microphone. It's in.
I know,
You can
it's
pick it up and look at it and handle it, not just a flat piece of paper.
technology is just a miracle. It really is. Now, you said that your first project as a whole was a dinner and a 5K, and how did that go?
We did very good. We had a great turnout. The dinner had about 50 people, and then the 5K had around 60, 70 people. It was very good.
Pretty remarkable.
Great, great. What do you plan then? Another group activity?
No, not for this year. The next year's class will have a group event, but the course of the class is the introductory business with our lanyards here, and then group business, and then individual business. So it kind of eases
Tell
you
us
into it.
about what you learned and what was involved in the advertising portion of your CEO.
So our lanyards were our first jump into the business world, and we kind of got in there, and Jason told us that we had to make name badges, and kind of left it there, so everyone just kind of stared blankly at each other for a while. But we got to thinking, and we realized we didn't have any money, so we had to get some advertisements, and just we had to go up to several different businesses around here and basically ask them for money. So that was it was a pretty different experience for especially just walking right into this, and but it turned out very well. We have these plastic badges here now with lanyards donated by LCU, and
you know, there are a lot of adults who can't possibly go and solicit funds for anything. So that's a big step for you to take. And did you all have to go out?
We kind of worked together and looked at different aspects of it, but with the group business, we did all have to go out and get advertisements for that. So it was stressful for everybody, but everybody got the experience.
It's a learning curve.
Yeah.
And if I can brag on for a second, when they're talking about their group business, I mean, they really did. I mean, they ran that 5K in downtown Lincoln. I mean, they worked everything from the planning. They had all the advertising, selling sponsors. They put up banners. They had shirts. I mean, and then the interactive dinner was, and I know they're kind of being modest about it, but they had, you know, Abraham Lincoln and Mary Todd Lincoln impersonators come. They had trivia. They had this huge event. They had a silent auction that went along with the dinner event as well. And it was something great too, because there's nothing really going on in Lincoln for Lincoln's birthday. You know, so it gave something for people to come to in Lincoln. So we're hoping maybe, you know, the next class or someone else will take that over and can actually keep that thing running, so they continue to do it.
You've referenced a couple times the next class. Now, how many years do you participate in CEO? And at what level can you first apply?
Junior year is the first year that you can take it, but it's only a 2-semester class, so
that's it.
Yeah, you take it 1 year and you're done.
Now, excuse me, go ahead, Judy.
No, please.
Jenna, the cupcakes, that's going to be that's a business that you have established for yourself.
Yes, I have.
And you set it all up from the ground floor up. And you're not only the janitor, but you're the chief executive officer as well.
Yes, I am.
Tell us how you went about that, Jenna.
Growing up, I loved to like bake, and then I really fell in love with the show Cupcake Wars. So I've been really into cupcakes, and I actually just went out and bought a KitchenAid mixer because I'm so excited about my business.
That's a big investment.
Yes, it is.
Yes.
And and they told me I could run any business I wanted, so I was like, why don't I do something I love and just do cupcakes?
Best of both worlds.
Yes, it is.
And there's certainly a room for that.
Yes.
You know, there aren't a whole lot of people around this, I think, that are making cupcakes. So if you decided to stay right here in the big city, you'd be good.
Yes.
Or an extracurricular, try to make a little money while you're going to school.
Yes.
Now, where do you want to go next? You're a senior.
Yes.
And do you have your plans made out for your next academic year?
Yeah, I'm going to Heartland for 2 years, and then I'm going to do Western.
Okay, yeah. And you want to be in law enforcement?
I do.
That can be a very nice career.
Thank you.
Unfortunately, there's a lot of bad people out there creating lots of jobs for law enforcement people.
Yes,
so
yes.
That's kind of a sad thing that you have.
And there's still more bad people to come, so you don't have to worry. There'll be job security.
Always will have a job.
Eli, what do you have? Do you have a goal yet?
For after high school?
Yes.
I haven't applied anywhere. I want to go to a school that has a good history in like technology and stuff. So the highest goals would be like MIT or Stanford or University of Chicago. But I haven't really looked a whole lot quite yet.
Well, I give you credit. You're setting your goal high, my boy.
You can do it.
Nothing wrong with that.
Thank you.
Your family for a long time has been farm-based, haven't they? But you're breaking away from that.
Well, my dad is a civil engineer. He works at the Department of Transportation. So our little branch of the family kind of...
Your pod.
Yeah. We kind of went away from what usually goes on in the Olson family.
Yes, you did.
Well, we have to divert ourselves for just a minute here, Mrs. Busby. We have what's known as sponsors. and they are the driving force for these programs. So we'll acknowledge Mr. Ash's spinning of the dials, and we'll come right back.
So go for it.
And right back to live in the studios. The program is Viewpoint, of course, at WLCN 96.3. We have, Judith Kay, of all the guests we have during the course of the year, not kind of motivate me any more than what we're doing here this morning, talking with young people and their future and their education. So we appreciate very much Jenna Graham and Eli Olson. He comes from those great Olson genes down there around Elkhart way. You know about that family.
Oh, yeah.
And the moderator, instructor, for want of better words, Jason Mauerhauer, young man. Find it hard to believe that kid's 35 years old. I remember him when he was about 3 feet tall. So in any event, it's a real joy for us to have the youth of our community with us there. Judith Kay, go right ahead. You have some questions that you want to propound here.
Well, I would like to have you elucidate a bit on the trade show that's coming on the 27th of April. That'll be here before you know it, so you must have things well underway by now.
Yeah, we at the moment, all the students are just working on creating business plans and getting their own individual businesses up and running so that we can showcase them on at the trade show, which there's 9 other businesses in the class, and it's gonna.
That's interesting.
They'll all be in the Legion Hall, and just we'll be showing them off to anybody that comes in, such as potential investors.
And your hours?
Our hours
for the show?
4 to 6. 4 to 8. No.
4 to whenever you want to state it.
Okay.
My eyes are that 6 and 8 just kind of floating back and forth a little bit.
You can bring your bedroll.
Of a serious note, even if you're not interested in the subject matter, it'd be interesting for you to go out there and spend a little time walking around that floor out there at the Legion, talking with the cream of our youth out there, and you'll be tickled to death you invested that time. I plan to maybe I'll take my bedroll out there and just stay.
What can we expect to see at the trade show? Because we'll be there.
Yes.
Won't we? If we live that long.
Well, there's that to be said.
We're getting close to the checkout generation, you know. But at any rate, will you be doing your cupcakes, for instance?
Yes, all 11 of us will have booths set up.
Your own thing for your dream for the future.
Yep.
And you'll be doing 3D advertising type things.
Yeah, just any 3D printing, any products you want, basically.
Now, will you have the actual printer out there, son?
I'm going to try to have it going during the show, just to show how it works and all that.
What do some of the other kids have? Do you know?
Ooh.
Somebody's doing a duct tape business. Somebody's also doing, they're making the duck call lanyards, and that's out of paracord. Someone's also doing
out of what?
Paracord.
What's that?
Strong, just cord that you weave around in different patterns, and it's used in the Army, I believe.
And there's bracelets used and stuff.
You see, now to do this, Jenna and Eli, if you're going to start this cupcake or your 3D printing, you have to have a game plan.
Yes.
And you have to have a business plan. And where do you start with that now, Jenna?
Well, we did a business plan for the group business, so I kind of started there, and then I also got online and looked up other business plans for my cupcake, for cupcake businesses, and then I just made my own based off both of them. So I kind of researched business plans to make my own.
Now, incorporated in your planning, all of you, you find about going to lending institutions to learn about getting some money and finding out what a loan is and the mortgage or whatever it may be.
Yeah, we've gone to banks. We've had several bankers come in and talk to us about the process of all this. And actually, in 2 weeks, I believe we'll be. Is it 2 weeks or 1 week?
It's going to be about a week and a half.
Yeah. In about a week and a half, we'll have bankers and board members, the CEO board, we'll be presenting our business plans to them to apply for a loan to start up our businesses.
Sort of like Shark Tank.
Yeah, basically, yeah.
And from their group business, they made close to $7,000 on their group business.
Oh.
So between the
A
dinner,
net profit?
Yes, net profit.
Really?
Yeah, between 6,500 and 7,000, they're right in there. We have a few other checks that need to be written, but they're right in there. So that money is now available for them to go and ask the board to take out a loan, use that money that is seed money
Collateral here?
for their businesses. So they all had access to what we decided was $100 to start with, and then they go and sit in front of board members and bankers with their business plans and decide from there how much more they can get up to $500 to start their businesces. So they go through all these processes that a true business would go through.
Can you think of a better extracurricular activity for a high school youngster to become involved with?
Oh, absolutely not. This is wonderful. Dare I ask who the board members are?
We've got
Or do they work in secret?
no. It's several business leaders and school officials.
People giving
throughout
of
the
their
area.
time.
Yeah.
Yeah, volunteering.
Yes.
Volunteerism is a beautiful thing.
Yes.
Really.
It's marvelous.
That's great.
How big a board is it?
There's 11, I believe, that's on the board. It
And
shifts
these
a
are
little bit.
advisors.
I'm sorry?
And these are advisors to your program.
Yeah, and they oversee my activities, so we meet once a month to go over where we're headed next, what needs to be accomplished. So like the board actually has a subcommittee of board members that's actually setting up the trade show, so they're getting the booths ready and other things for them. Then the students, when they come in, that part is taken care of. Anything that has to do with their individual businesses on them, so any of the advertising they're doing with their banners, their logo, any of that kind of stuff, that's on them, just like any other business leader would do. So they have to find the funding for that and then come up with that so that they're ready to present on the trade show day.
How many years has CEO been in existence here in Logan County?
This is the inaugural year. So this is the first year we've had
This is
it.
the baby year.
Yeah, this is the baby year. And so, but I can tell you this, I know Patrick and April Duran, Andy Hake, they were all very instrumental. I believe Andy might have heard about it first, and then they started talking about it, and it took, I believe, almost 3 years to get it here, because you can't bring this program in if the community's not ready. And what I mean by that is this is not a normal school class. In other words, that it's all business sponsored. So everything that we do is through business sponsorship. So we have well over 30 investors that have committed to $1,000 per year for a 3-year commitment.
Did the kids solicit these sponsors too?
No, this was something that was done way ahead of time because they had to come up with the funds to be able to get the program off the ground.
Sure.
And Midland wants to know that the community's ready and backing. So once they can show, once the community can say, hey, we're ready and here's how, we've got our investors lined up, here's where we want to go, here's the direction, kind of like a business plan. Once they have that put together, then Midland says, okay, we'll come in and we'll launch the program then. So yeah, we have all these investors that pay for each one of these students to sit in the seats that they do and do what they do.
Is it an after-hours program, or is it during the school day?
Go ahead.
We meet for 2 hours out of our regular school hours, but usually we have to meet after class to get everything we need done. So we really just take out a time out of our lives to do what we
It's a
have to.
commitment.
Yes.
But if you don't commit to something, you're no good to it, and it's no good to you.
That's true.
Did this program start last September?
Yeah, the first students came in, I believe, August 18th was where they first came in. All the students came in at one time. We had investors. We invited in the board members, and Craig Linval, the actual CEO, came and spoke to the students and to everybody, so we could get them, kind of ready for the class, because it started up 2 weeks after that is when we had our first class.
So you people got to meet the originator of the program then,
Yeah,
the big man.
He was there at that meeting for all the students, and then he came in and actually spoke to us later, just to give us a lowdown on everything that's going to go on and just kind of explain the class to us.
Well, this involvement certainly had to be accepted by the school administration before you talk to anybody else in the world.
Yes.
If they wouldn't allow it, you're just out of water.
Yeah, and Robert Bagby and Todd Ham both sit on the board, and they are huge advocates of the program. Huge advocates of the program. They actually, it's one of the questions from Midland. They say sometimes it's very difficult to get schools on board with this. That was not the case in Logan County. Not the
I
case
can
at all.
absolutely see
they were
no
very
downside.
much on board.
Is there a downside to this at all? I couldn't begin to imagine what it could be. I just couldn't begin to imagine what would be a downer in a program like this that teaches young people like Jenna and Eli to get their feet on the ground floor as far as even though you're going to have different careers, you're going to know a lot about how to deal with people.
Yes.
And that alone is worth the course.
Oh, yeah. Have you talked to your friends in the class behind you to tell them they ought to try and go for this? Because of your enthusiasm, you'd be the recruiters.
Yeah, I've tried to just kind of communicate how great this program has been for me, how much it's changed me, and there are a few students in my high school that seem very interested. They just kind of are taking their time, making sure it's definitely going to work out for everything and be a safe thing to do.
Well, it takes a commitment. There's no question about that on the part of the student as much as on the part of the sponsors. And because if you don't have that mutual commitment, that's not it won't fly at all. So you've got some exceptional youngsters here, Mr. Maurer.
Well, and they've done a great job recruiting, so they can probably tell you a little bit about how they recruited for next year's class as well, because it's not just people apply. We've actually gone and recruited some of them, so they can
tell us.
We go to schools and we show our presentations we have. We ask them questions like, would you like to not sit in the classroom all day? Do you want to own your own business? And we pretty much just go and tell them how great of a program it is. And yeah, it's a lot of work, but it's worth it in the end when you're so much higher than the regular high school student you are.
Well, yeah, you've got a leg up for the future. Usually when you graduate from high school, I do remember that vaguely, you're thinking about, well, now.
What do I do?
Tell us about your parents. How did they receive this when you came home and said, hey, guess what? I want to start planning for my life. I want to start thinking about a business of my own. What did they say to you? Do the dishes, or did they?
My mom was very happy, but my dad already owns his own business. It's Graham Carpentry, and it's kind of been in my family to own my own business. My grandparents had Wings, Wood, and Weeds, which was a craft show in New Holland. So I've pretty much grown up wanting to have my own business someday, and they were really proud of me.
You just thought that that's what people did, didn't you?
Pretty much.
That carrot's always been out in front of her there.
Sure. And how about you, Eli?
Oh, my parents pretty much went along with it. They're pretty easygoing when it comes to that kind of stuff. The only hesitation they had was, am I going to be able to keep time for this and not constantly get sick from sleep deprivation?
A natural parent's concern, after all.
But there are a few people in my family that have actually started their own businesses, so they kind of knew the process of it. And my dad actually had a business before, kind of. It's a blurry side for me, but it's a gray area. But
it was in your youth.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But they were completely fine with it. They were a little only hesitant because they were worried about me.
Yeah, right. Well, that's what we're paid to do.
That comes with the parent's responsibility.
Yeah, and it's a lifetime commitment. You don't get over it just because the kid's 18. Yeah. It's a long-term commitment. Tell us a little about the rest of your life. Do you have time left over to be active in church or in other things? Do you play basketball? You're nice and tall.
Yeah, I play sports year-round, so
I figured that.
Constantly going after school, different practices and stuff. And doing that, there are a few things you'll miss just because of meetings that are something that are happening on the same nights as games. But it's not too difficult to still have a life outside of CEO.
Right. Okay, Jenna, and you.
I started out the year with a job, but then I saw the value in CEO, and I was like, I think I'm going to quit my job so I can do this.
Did you really?
I quit my job so I could, give all my time to the CEO. But I still had time for, my family and my friends, so it wasn't too bad.
Well, that's a valuable lesson that you learned, is prioritizing.
Yes.
I mean, if you can't prioritize, it doesn't matter what age you are. You're really pretty well out of luck,
Which we still have students that have jobs now. There's several of them. One that works at Walgreens, one that works at Bonanza. But it's basically you being able to organize everything and still get sleep. But it's all on you to decide if you
budget your time.
Yeah, decide if you can handle all of that.
And that's a valuable lesson.
Yeah.
Yes.
Budgeting your time. Did you two personally go out and solicit funds in the advertising portion of your year with CEO?
For the group business, we were actually the co-leads, which, I don't really know how to put it. We weren't really the boss, but, we made sure everything got done. So
You were facilitators like Jason.
yeah,
is.
pretty much. We were pretty much the facilitator. And so I went out and got a lot of sponsors, and so did all the other class, the whole class did it. It was very, very awesome.
Had you ever done anything like that before? Actually go up to somebody face to face, nose to nose, and solicit money?
No.
It was a whole new ballgame.
The only thing I can think of is asking my grandma to buy some candles for a school fundraiser I did in 5th grade.
There's always
She was a
that.
tough sell.
That's why they issue grandmothers. Yeah, so that you got somebody to call on to practice on.
Yeah.
It's a good plan, isn't it?
That's a good family plan.
It sure is.
You'll be finishing here. My golly, this is already mid-March almost. Coming up here end of April and May, you're going to be out of the educational system for a while. What are your summer plans?
Well, I'm doing a little bit of travel over the summer. I'm going to
Good.
Costa Rica in June, and then possibly San Diego late June.
Is Costa Rica just a pleasure trip?
No, the Spanish class at Mount Pulaski and the Spanish class at Lincoln they're both doing a foreign exchange program.
Oh my gosh.
So
How's neat?
we actually had Costa Ricans come to Lincoln in early January. So we're going there in June, and it's just to kind of experience new cultures and work on our Spanish, and it's great. It's a pretty great experience.
Are you pretty proficient in Spanish?
Go ahead and answer in her Spanish, see what she says. Yeah.
No.
I love
Well, you
direct
will be.
answer. That's right. Don't dodge around. Just give her a direct answer.
My daughter's job had her working for 10 years in Puerto Rico and the Dominican Republic. And you'll find when you get down there that you'll learn it pretty quickly. That is, if you want to eat or find where you live or anything
Ask her
else.
right the bathroom or anything else.
That's right.
Which
Go ahead, sir.
we've been preparing a lot since just the beginning of the year, and our Spanish teachers have helped us out a ton. Just
Wonderful.
making sure we'll be ready to ask for food, ask for the bathroom, just the basic stuff,
Sure.
and at least hold a conversation.
That's a 3-year program at Mount Pulaski?
I'm in the 3rd year now, but there's 4 levels of Spanish class there.
Oh, okay.
So
Well, Don Trump will be glad to have you. So you'll be able to work on the wall down there.
Jim will give him your number.
I'm okay if you.
And Jenna.
Yeah, what do you have in mind, dear?
Well, I'm actually moving out of my house this summer, so that's probably going to be a really big goal of mine.
That is hugely big.
Yeah. Yeah.
Are you? What do you? There are bills connected
Yeah.
with that. I just wanted to bring that up.
Yeah, I'm moving in with another person, so it's not going to be that hard. I'm getting a job this summer too, hopefully.
Yeah, you bet you are. You want to believe it?
That's
At
such a
least
difficult
one.
thing for all high school youngsters, country over. Coming up with summer jobs is not like it used to be. God, 70-some years ago, and you could go out and get a job pretty easily. May not paid much, but you didn't need much. Today, getting a job for a high school youngster is a major. Do you experience any of that, Jason, with the young high school students that you have worked with down through the years?
Yeah, well, and I can tell you with, starting my own business, it is hard on the other end of the coin to find those that are interested in working.
Oh, well, there's that.
That there's a less number that are trained up in that way to say, hey, this is part of the discipline and learning of life that you need to go out and do this. And so I've ran to some of that, but I would say that they're maybe even in some cases less equipped for the opportunities that are there.
Well, there's a segment of society that thinks of work as a four-letter word, and they don't want to get closely acquainted with it.
Well, and I think these students will be so much further ahead. The 11 we got this year, when they walk into a place and they look in the eye, they shake your hand, they can handle an interview, they can sell themselves in 90 seconds.
Exactly.
That's a huge step that a lot of people just can't do anymore.
You mentioned two things really important. Firm handshake and look them in the eye. Establish contact. I don't know, you can't get any better than that. And once you get over that hump, it's not a lot, but a little easier.
Well, and it used to be pretty easy. Everyone just knew it. But I can tell you that today, at least in what we've experienced, you can ask them. It was intimidating. It was intimidating to do it,
Young people don't look one another in the eye, they text. They don't even talk to one another, for crying out loud. We're going to have a generation of people who can't speak to somebody.
Which reminds me of the great commercial you've seen that grandchildren go up on the grandparents' porch to visit them. Oh, here, this doesn't work. Can you fix this?
So glad to see you. None of this works. Now, Jenna, this should be a big help to you. You're looking forward to moving out of your parents' house. That is a whale of a step. But what you've learned in CEO should give you some help. You really should be aware of the fact that you can't just say, I'm moving out.
Yes.
You have to find a place to live and a bed, and you have to be able to pay the freight. That's a big step, man. Do you think CEO has had a hand in helping you realize what's involved here?
Yes, I feel like I'm more mature and I know like what's coming. I'm not gonna be like that naive high schooler that's just gonna be like, I'm gonna move out, my dad will pay my bills. Like, that's not what I would do.
See, there's a lot of that. And people now that we're in the political season, young people who've been on their dad's tab for their whole life, now they're going to vote in such a way that they can be on the government's tab. Well, I'm sorry, it ain't going to work that way for the whole population. Somebody's got to work to pay for this. And you'll be able to. God love you. Good luck.
Yes, we appreciate very much Jenna Graham and Eli Olson and their adult advisor and instructor Jason Mahar being with us today. We're talking about a program known as Creative Entrepreneurial Opportunities. It's a kind of a mouthful of a word, but boy, those three words say tons. And we appreciate the fact you come up here and share your time with us and what you're doing. Call attention once more before we sign off. On April the 27th, they're going to have a trade show at the American Legion, and 4 to 6, or whatever that is. And in any event, get there about 5, you'll be just all right. Seriously, I would urge our listeners to go out there and show these young people your support. It's a great program, and I can't think of a better way to launch two youngsters into today's society. We always try to close with a comment that hopefully pertaining to the subject matter of the day. And I found one that's just about short, but it kind of says
right
it all.
on the money?
I think so. Any investment in knowledge pays the best interest. Can't get any better than that. Thank you very much for Viewpoint.
Thank you.
Thanks for having us.
kids.